give them a big Utah welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, man. Very good. Cool. Good.
What's going on? What's going on, man? What's going on?
Ooh. Hey, everybody. What's up?
What's up?
What's going on? What's going on?
We got a good crowd here to wrap up Friday at Slopes. You guys are in for a treat here. I'm either the luckiest or unluckiest or both person like at Summit right now because I'm lucky because I get to share the stage with this crew. I'm unlucky because I have the job as moderator of this crew. This is an all-gas group that knows no moderation in anything that they've done creatively and entrepreneurially. We're going to get into that stuff. Awesome histories, just fantastic people to boot. That's amazing. I'm going to have them take just a couple of minutes and give you like an intro to their story, and then we're going to mix it up a little bit, go a little freestyle. Let's start at the end with Jon.
They can hear me? How everybody doing? They said I got to speak loud, so I'm trying to get everybody up there. So a lot of y'all know me. Who don't know me, my name is Jon Stan. I'm a fashion designer. Woo! Oh, they loud over there.
Yeah!
Hey, we need to be even louder. Woo! Yeah! You know?
Let's go.
Let's get it. So like I was saying, my name's Jon Stan. I'm a fashion designer. I'm the creative director of Jon Stan NYC. You know, and I'm just creating these exclusive items and enjoying your life as I go. And we're going to get into that story.
All right. Hey, guys, I'm Tommy. I was born and raised in Taiwan. And then my company is called the Remade. So we actually make custom-made shoes for, like, celebrities, NBA players, all this. And then I've been doing this for, like, 8 years. And until last year, I did NBA championship shoes for Milwaukee Bucks. So after that, I was thinking, what should I do? Because that was kind of like my dream shoes already. What should I break that barrier? So I stepped into Web3 and started my project. And it's the #1 NFT project in Taiwan right now. And I'll talk about that later. I'm going to pass it on to Sam.
What's up? I'm Sam Salisbury. I grew up in Utah. I live in Los Angeles right now, but started out creating a bunch of concerts and events and community gatherings here in Utah and kind of moved on through the building community through music and entertainment, moved on through technology, and currently like to fuse those worlds together of emerging technology, entertainment, and impact.
Okay, right on. So can you guys hear me? Good? All right, there we go. Now I got the reverb back. Okay, so you're going to see this. This is going to come out, but these guys are entrepreneurs. They are self-made, they are hustlers, they are self-taught, they are self-teaching and evolving across all of these like creative and business and cultural disciplines. All this stuff's gonna come out. Promoters and builders and creators in like the best way. Should I use this one instead? Okay, right on. I'm gonna ask a couple of questions. We're gonna like loosen this up a little bit. I wanna know, and we're gonna start with Tommy, and then we'll go Sam, and then Jon. A little bit of like where you're finding inspiration to create right now. And we'll get into a little more of the story, but like what's motivating you? What do you see? And I might start actually with the sneaks you're wearing.
Oh, these?
Tell us about them.
Okay, so these are actually original Air Jordan 1, and then I actually took Levi's denim jacket and cut it, and then made it into a shoe. So you can see it is like fully customizable and everything. Yeah, you can see it. So my company name is called The Remade. You can look it up on IG right now, so you have a picture of what we're doing. And my inspiration is really like, I feel like everyone should have their own like custom stuff, because the custom made things are not just a one-on-one thing. It actually has a story behind it. I think I want to use a product to speak the story for yourself. That's pretty much inspiration. Yeah, just creating stories. And like, for example, I just met Jon like 2 days ago, right? Here, because I'm here. And then if we collab, I will actually take his hat or a piece of his clothes and to make it into the shoes, because that piece of clothes might have a meaning. It might be, if you're in Hawaii or something with your wife, it can be a meaningful thing, right? And maybe when I make into shoes, it become like an artwork. And that has a different meaning for Jon and me. Then that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
Right on. Sam, tell us, what inspires you?
I'm such a fan of like cross collaboration. So taking things that normally don't go together and fusing them together. So my journey of a passion of getting people together to have a good time, to get value out of that, turned into coming up with ideas that could help solve problems while doing that. And then I kind of ran into technology, and I realized that technology was a great way to actually scale and be more efficient with doing that. So right now, I'm just inspired by the creators. I'm inspired by people that go outside the box and find new ways to do things.
Right on. Jon, where are you getting inspiration these days?
For me, since I'm married, I really want to just say I'm inspired by my wife. You know, But now, you know what inspired me? It's crazy because I was just having this conversation, and what really inspired me is now that I'm able to be on these big platforms to do different things. So what inspired me is to inspire others, to say things that people thought was impossible that now Jon could do it. It's possible because I can relate to him, So that keeps me going to go, all right, I killed this, what's next? Like, so that's like the big thing for me that's inspired me to inspire others,
Okay, so bring it home here to Slopes. I've seen you guys interacting with so many people the last couple of days. Does anybody want to take a crack at answering how a gathering like this in Salt Lake City you guys aren't like necessarily tech first. You guys have built brands and taken them into Web3, and you're doing this stuff, and you're like on the verge of making tech breakthrough. What's a conference like this? What's an event like this doing to like juice the work you do?
I'm gonna start with this. It's like I told a lot of people I hate going to conference when it's like bull market. What's bull market? Is like market is super crazy. I love going to conference, hosting that bear market, because you guys that are still here is because you believe in this, and this is the best people to talk to, because you're actually building. We're all building. We're still here. I mean, I'm a multimillionaire. I'm still here. How I hear about this Silicon Slope is fun. Is that I saw the founder of Artifact, Chris. He tweeted like, oh, he's speaking at this conference, right? So I use like 3 different companies' account, my personal account. I hit up Silicon Slope, Felix, Ryan, like, yo, I gotta be there. And once he set it up, I'm like, yo, okay. I drove 10 hours from LA and I'm here, because there's no way I can meet all of you, like all these great people, at just one spot. If I'm gonna really meet all of you, like in the future, it's gonna take me like 5 years, travel to different cities, spending so much money for this connection. But we're all here. That's why I feel like you guys should really talk to the guys sitting next to you. They might be up to something. You don't know. Just communicate and network. That's what this convention is for.
That's awesome. Anybody want to add anything? You two?
I add something. So for me, this is my first time even coming to any summit. I'm so much in my bubble where when I was given the opportunity to speak, it was like, what I'm gonna do there, what I'm gonna say to these people, they don't wanna hear me speak, they don't wanna hear my story. So as I started digging more into it and see who's involved and who loves to come to these things and who's gonna be here, these different companies, and I'm like, wow, they wanna hear my story? Like, how they relate to me? So for me, it was so beautiful because the people I met that's in different things, different industries, but they all come here because it all leads back to tech, and that was the eye-opener. And I met dope individuals, and for me, be able to be in those rooms with these people that I would have never been given an opportunity to be in these rooms, but now I'm here. I met some dope people that's here, or some even here, but we still all got the same goal, is to be here. So that was beautiful, and the takeaway for these 2 days is like I met some dope people and dope connections and built strong relationships that's going to grow in the future. I met everybody up here yesterday, and us, just the conversations we having is like, felt like I've been know you. So, and it's dope because we have the same vision. That is beautiful to me. Like he said, I would have never met you at this time. Could have been another year from now. Spent lots of money and just meeting each other, but we here, given opportunity, and I'm loving it.
Man, that's amazing. You guys are like I said, you're like icons in the making. We do this 10 years from now. This is going to be like so cool to see where things are.
Yeah.
I know some of the backstory from each of you of those early days when you weren't like slaying it. And I want you guys to tell, I mean, Tommy just said, like, you've had some success. You've already had some stuff like work out really well. I'm going to bet the journey for all three of you is a little more nuanced, a little more like relatable to everybody. Like, y'all have failed. Y'all have had stuff not work out.
Yeah.
And I want to hear a little bit about those days for each of you. And maybe Sam, who, when I first met Sam in New York, I met him through Artifact and this other event at NFT NYC. And he was like, I'm having lunch with the Beastie Boys in a couple of minutes if you want to roll. And I was like, what? Are you kidding? Like, this is how I met Sam. And I'm like, that's Sam today. That's Sam for a decade. But that's not where Sam started out. Tell us where Sam started out.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an ever-moving journey, and I think all of us can attest to that. And through that process, you go through the ups and downs. And the route that I've taken is super untraditional. Just really focused on following my dreams and thinking outside the box, and not always was it pretty. So through that process of having a lot, I won really big, really early. When I was living in Utah, I was going to college. I had a bucket list item, a whole list of things that Sam wanted to do in his life. I think I just talked in first person. I'm sorry about that. Like 100 things, crazy things I wanted to do, and one was like hike Mount Kilimanjaro, one was buy a limo, one was buy an investment property, one was book and promote a band of 5,000 people or more. And I just started checking things off my list, and it came down to booking a show. And I had no idea what that meant, so I met a guy that ran a big venue and said, hey, can I come work for you? This is something that's on my list, I just got to check it off. And he said, well, you gotta rent my venue. It's called being a promoter. Rent my venue, hire the band, put everything together, promote it. You're gonna lose. You've
never done any of this before.
No, other than house parties and little things. So he said, you're gonna lose all your money, don't do it. And I said, well, I don't have any money. It's all tied up in this investment property. So he goes, there we go. Come back to me later. So
you sold it out. He went door to door and just hustled, and you were grinding, and you sold it out.
So I figured out a way to do it, and I sold my investment property, had some money. The Freight came out with their first song on the radio, and I'm like, I went to the guy, and he said, there's no way their agent is going to let you, an unexperienced promoter, book this show. So I said, you're an experienced promoter. You put the offer in under your name. I'll fund it. Just help me out. And he thought I was crazy, but yeah, rubber meets the road. I had to figure out a way to get people butts in the seat. So got really creative with that, but had a couple big bangers early on. Did the Fray, doubled that biggest show. Did One Republic, doubled that biggest show that they've ever had. And then I picked up a show that failed miserably. And I remember like barely being in tears, like giving the check over, a cashier's check over to the artist, being like, that just cost me 50 grand. Or whatever that number was. And yeah, it's those times that I think as an entrepreneur we can all relate to of wow, I actually thought I was awesome, and I am awesome, but I thought I had it all figured out, and I got humbled really fast. So at that time, I'm like, I better figure out a way to get back on the horse and figure it out.
All right, I want to hear Jon's take. Not too dissimilar in those early days of like just figuring out how to hustle and make things happen. Tell us the story of when you were back in New York.
It's crazy because I was kind of juggling. I had my clothing brand, and I also was working at Starbucks. So like we were saying earlier, I was one of the youngest Starbucks store managers. I had the most profitable Starbucks store in New York I was running. I ran a team of 70 people under me. And I was doing that at the same time I was trying to create my brand. So I was juggling both, and I was putting more into Starbucks. You know, one part of me wanted to grow up in the company, you know, and climb the ladder. And at the same time, the creative side wanted me to grow my business. So it was like a juggle. And me being self-taught, I didn't go to school for business, marketing, nothing. So I was just learning through Starbucks. I was learning business. I was learning how to be profitable. I was learning these things through Starbucks, and I was applying it to my business. And I had a passion for both. And I grew good relationships in Starbucks. Like I was saying earlier, I was cool with Kevin Johnson. You know, that's everybody knew who Kevin Johnson is. Who don't know, that's the guy that owns Starbucks now. And we built a relationship. And I wanted to grow. And he said something to me. He said, "You remind me of me when I was growing up, when I was chasing my dreams." And people like, "Yo, that's dope. That's awesome. Look who just shouted you out." And people that's in the corporate world, they're like, "Hey, this is dope. You're gonna grow." And for me, it didn't sit well with me. You know, I was excited on one end, but I still was like, so I'm following his dream. I'm working for his dream. And I decided to quit. I kept my brand going, doing drops there and there, but I quit. I quit Starbucks and I put 100% into my brand, my dream, and it started progressing real fast because, like, I would drop a collection, and in 1 week you might see Young Thug, or you might see Meek Mills, you see all these rappers, see some of the athletes, they wearing my stuff, and it's like, wait, this is happening fast. Like, it was so fast. I remember I had like 2,000 followers, and I think in like 2 weeks I was already at like 30,000. It was like, and it was happening so fast. It was like, all right, I have something here, and how can I take it from just being, I'm a dope creator, I'm making clothes, to now making it a business, a company. And as I started doing that, it just started, like, opportunity just started coming, knocking at my door, because my name is building, my brand is growing. They seeing everybody wearing it, everybody, they want it. I create a hype around it now. So, and it just started scaling, and it took from having an idea, putting 50% into my dreams, to putting 100, and I'm here. I'm on stage.
And you know I think that's just an amazing story. And you said something earlier to me, and I want to say it back to you because it really resonated. You kind of mentioned it just now when Kevin said to you, "You remind me of me when I was chasing my dream," and you said, "I realized, like, a lot of people would be complimented, like, that he's saying that about you. You'd be like, wow, I remind you of yourself." And you're successful and you've done this huge global thing, but it bothered you. You said, "I realized I was following his dream. I was chasing someone else's dream," and that's the moment you decided to commit 100% to doing your own dream. And, like, what an amazing moment that is in history for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Props, man.
Yeah. So thank you guys. So it's crazy because, so you see, when you go back into what inspired me, you see, that's why I'm big on breaking through doors, being a test subject, because now I'm here to inspire others that they can do it, you know, and that's rewarding, you know.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Tommy, come.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tommy's got factories. You see, he makes
This is the man right here.
He just takes a Levi's jacket and makes these kicks, and he's doing this left and right. He codes. He's an expert in AR. He's an expert in all kinds of software dev, and a brilliant business mind. You couldn't have always been those things. Like, somewhere along the line, you had to make some jumps like what these guys are saying.
Will knows, like, from SneakerCon. No, at first I was struggling for sure. Yeah, for sure. He knows. So when I first started, a lot of people assume that my family background is into footwear manufacturing. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with footwear. So it's just my hobby. Why I started the Remade is simply because I don't want to spend $2,000 on a shoe and have someone wearing the same shoes at SneakerCon. That is my reason why I started the Remade. So at first, I was really just, I don't have a factory, nothing. I was really just contacting people from China and sending, like, Jordans over there and try to help have them reconstruct the shoes. So my first customer is actually Soulja Boy. And that's like, I mean, yeah, he spent like he paid me like $500 for like a Recon Air Jordan 4, I remember. And that's when I see there's potential in this market. There's people that want to be different, right? So I did, it was all good. I was making shoes with these factory, it was all good. But at this one point, I was trying to make 100 pairs of Air Jordan 1 in Python. That was big back then. And then everything was smooth. The last 2 weeks, the suppliers started like disappearing and stuff, and just vanish, right? And I was so pissed. What I did is I flew to China, and found out the factory is empty. Like there's nothing there. And I was like, what am I gonna do? So I pretty much refund all my money, and then I'm like, okay, so this is it. So I pretty much just stay and start building the sample room and getting to know everything. I remember there's time that I was sleeping in the workshop and just like getting to know everything, how shoes are made, how like what is this machine, where can I source it, what is this for? So I feel like a true entrepreneur actually been through that from grown up to knowing like all the process until now. So later on, of course, I start having, my thing is every Chinese New Year, I will have my signature release, which is become a pattern, become a consistent thing. And then later on, brands start approaching me, seeing that I have designability. So I start having like bigger like case and stuff like that. And that's when I start scaling stuff. And then I get into Web3 is really into Web3 is because of Zaptio from Artifact. He texted me one day saying like he wanted to do like this like digital sneaker stuff. And I'm making like real shoes, right? And he's saying he wanted to make digital sneakers. I was like, what is that? So I started looking into it, and he was like, we were talking about it, and then eventually, my biggest regret is I didn't really officially work with them, didn't invest in Artifact. But the story is, he is also an inspiration to me because he used to be a customizer, right? He used to have a relationship with SneakerCon. We have all these stories, these ties, and now we're all here. And I think that's just a super happy ending. And then it's not even a super happy ending. It's like the beginning. It's the beginning because we're all here. We have the capability to do even more now. So that's the crazy part. We can inspire more people. Yeah.
So awesome. I want to come touch on that what you just said. Right?
Thank you.
I want to drill down a little bit because I know this is something near and dear to all of you, and I'll let you guys answer. You choose your order on this, but you're touching on community. And we talked about slopes and talked about you driving 10 hours to be here and have those connections over time. And the connections you've made cross country and with like the doors just opened up for you, Jon, with all the people that you've served with like craftsmanship, all of you. And Sam being a global promoter and out on tour with Jay-Z and like your mind just expands because of the communities you guys have become a part of. Like, how do you think about the role of community and like what you still have ahead of you? This panel's not, or the track isn't about past, it is about future. How do you see the communities you have now or the communities you built staying with you going forward?
I'll take a stab at that. For me, it's all about community. In the early days, I've just, the way I grew up in the culture, community is everything and family is everything. And I took a lot of inspiration from the people around me. So I would take every moment to be the guy out there, being everywhere, being at the gatherings, being at the conferences, putting the house parties on, putting the concerts on. My favorite thing is to gather rad humans together. So kind of full circle from doing that IRL, technology, kind of found technology. When I came from Utah, I moved to San Francisco after I did a bunch of these music tours with Skull Candy. Shout out to Brad Williams on the music marketing team over there that brought me in. But from there, I saw ideas, I saw opportunities that things could be done differently, and we ended up helping build a company called Bandpage. So moved to San Francisco. That's where I found technology in 2010. We created an app that became the 4th largest app on Facebook, but it was literally a solution for musicians to better connect with their fans. So Facebook at the time didn't have anything like that. They just had a wall where Kanye West could have a bunch of followers. He posted his video, and 1 million people could comment, and that video would get lost. So we created a dynamic player that connected to SoundCloud, tour date companies, everything all together on Facebook, and it grew. It was a solution that was there that needed to be a problem that needed to be solved, and we grew it from 0 to 500,000 bands. I led the artist relations side of things, so I was traveling all around the world, connecting with artists, digital teams, labels, agencies, saying, "Hey, buy my software." So
you guys are all like, that's like living a movie. Like, I want to see this movie of you doing that 0 to like. That's amazing to scale like a business that big and to see like how tech played a role in doing that. But otherwise, it wouldn't have happened, right?
At the end of the day, it's what problems needed to be solved, and just through going and living life and jumping on tour and gathering people together, there's got to be a more efficient way to do it. And I think there's people a lot smarter than me that help create the tech for this. But yeah, and I think full circle to where I am now. I've been full time in the Web3 metaverse NFT space for the last year and a half. Got in early with a a project called Doodles. They brought me on to build out all their experiences for Miami Art Basel, and then quickly after that brought me on as an advisor to really help them scale. They were a wildly successful NFT project with an artist by the name of Burnt Toast, and it was wild to me that they were the hottest chick in town with the NFT space, and just they needed additional help outside of them. And it was kind of full circle for me, because when I found NFTs, I watched the Bored Apes happen. I watched all these large collections come out, and it just really struck a chord to me of it's everything I've ever done. I used to collect baseball cards when I was a kid, basketball cards. I gathered community. I'm into technology, and finally I got into Bitcoin and Ethereum at 2016, 2017, and started really understanding that blockchain could solve a lot of these problems of our lives, and got really excited about that. So when the NFTs came around, the profile pic projects, I'm like, wow, now this is how people are using this blockchain technology to build a financial incentive around community and culture and art. And I got stoked, and I just I dove deep, and it's kind of been a journey from there. So
very cool, very cool. Tommy, Jon, communities.
I think it's all about communities. I mean, in different industry, right? Like, we need the consumer, we need a supporter, artists needs the fans. So it's always been a community. So, I mean, I have my own NFT project. I think that really changed me, because before, when I was dealing with celebrity, I only deal with them one-on-one. But now I have like 300 something holders really much like just looking at me every day. What am I doing? Like, there's just like, I have so many eyes just on me. Like, what's the next step and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm really transparent to the community that I have, because I think that's it. Like, you need to educate them and teach them. That's what I've been doing in this Web3 thing. When the digital sneaker thing happened, I'm doing physical. So right now, what I'm trying to do is, how do I bring them together to become physical? So I'm just trying to let my community spread that awareness for me through my education. Yeah.
And you just said you feel an accountability to them. You wake up with all those like eyes on you. Like,
yes.
What's the value? What's the value?
I mean, I never want to be like that, but I mean, it's cool. It's at least people are paying attention to me, and then like they trust what I'm doing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Very cool. Jon.
That's dope. It's crazy. Like, when we speak on community, for me, just like giving you a little story, for me, I'm the type of person where I could be a part of the community, but I can see a community over there, and I'm like, wait, how could I bridge this gap? How could I put this together? So for me, give you a little background story. I didn't say it earlier. I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn. It's so diverse in New York. And moving to Utah, you really don't see that often, right? And for me, I live here now. For me, if it wasn't for my wife to say, hey, it's an opportunity for you to grow and do what you're doing in New York, Utah need that. Utah don't, like, it's dope people here, and it's different communities and different backgrounds, but for me, I notice a lot of people stay in their own circle. So I'm the guy that was like, all right, let me get here, let me spark everybody's interest and put me in the forefront to bring all these different communities together. So that's the part I play. And even being a part of this, where I was given an opportunity to say, hey, Jon, we would love for you to speak. We love what you're doing in Utah when it comes to bringing culture, bringing fashion, bringing it here. And for me, I was like, nah, I don't. What I'm going to tell these people, I'm not really into the Web3, the NFT tech. Like, but what I'm going to show these people, like, what do they care? But for me, I knew why I had to be here, because I'm the guy that's going to bring people that didn't care about these type of summits, care about NFTs, Web3. They more interested in my brand, how they see all these celebrities, everybody's wearing it. But now Jon Stan is interested in NFTs, Web3. He want to be a part of these summits now. Let's go find out why. You know, so it's me bringing my community here. So when we was having this conversation earlier, it was like, I have a core following selling direct to consumer. So how could I get them to want to get digital wallets, to want to own NFTs, to want to be a part of this because they think it's so hard to do or be a part of it, when I'm like, I want to be that test subject. I want to be, if Jon could do it and he's doing it and he make it look cool, I want to be a part of that. So that's the part I play when it comes to bridging the communities together. And, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a. I'm proud of that. That's a visionary, like bold, courageous move, and it needs to happen. And I'm just have so much respect for that. And it's working, and it's gonna work, and it's gonna expand like who this community is, and it's gonna make it better. Yeah.
Appreciate it. And to tie that too, right? It's funny because saying it and doing it and actually seeing it is different, right? So this is a funny story. When we had the private dinner before we put this together, right? And they say, hey, Jon, we doing this private dinner. We got all the companies coming in. You should come in. And I'm be honest, be transparent. I was scared. I'm like, what I'm going to say to them? The person next to me, they own this $700 million company. They got this tech company. I'm just a fashion designer, you know, and I was scared. I'm like, what I'm going to talk to them about Web3 about? And I didn't have the confidence, but then really digging deep in like, what part do I play? I'm like, I'm killing Web2. I'm killing direct to consumer. I'm killing e-commerce when it comes to, you know, these type of things. I have something. So, which is this hat right here. Tell you a funny story. I end up creating this hat last minute, right? And I had one of the hats on at this dinner, and all of the cooks, they're serving the food to everybody from these tech companies, and they just there serving the food, not paying no mind to what's going on, not even asking questions. Why y'all here? What's this about? I end up having this hat on, and I was walking, and the guy said, I know that brand. That's a Jon Stan hat, but I don't know what is this, like, why everybody here? And I'm like, you serving food to all these people here. You didn't even care to ask, like, what are we doing here? Because he couldn't relate. He didn't understand what was going on. He see everybody in suits and ties, and he don't know. But he was interested in that hat because he know that's my brand. And when I turned around, I said, hey, I'm Jon Stan. He was like, yo, wait, let me take a picture with you. What's going on here? I'm like, wait, you serving food here, you don't know what's happening? Well, let me tell you, you know, it's a bunch of different companies here. You know, I'm actually speaking on the 30th. You should come in. It caught his interest. Not because he cared about tech or not because he was going on here. He was more interested in the brand, you know, and a little bit of my story and what I'm doing in Utah. And it caught his interest. And when I told him, he was like, yo, that's dope. I want to come. Where I could buy tickets at. I want to be a part of this. And that's when I knew. I seen it in real life, like what part I could play with bringing my community when it comes to the NFTs, Web3s, being a part of that new community. How could I bridge that gap? And I seen it in real life, and that's my calling now, what I want to do, being here, you know?
So inspiring.
Speaking
Well, you
of
know,
community,
that only happens because of the proximity, the literal geography of you standing next to him in this like time and space and that moment, and like the tech of NFTs and Web3 can actually broaden that massively, where it doesn't have to be somebody, because the brand can mean the same thing it means standing next to you. It can mean that around the world at any point in time, any day or night. That's the power of like Jon Stan going Web3, which I hope is something we're going to be talking about.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Can you tell us a little bit? I don't know if you can say much about it with like All-Star Weekend.
yeah, I could give you a little teaser. I know I'm gonna get a call, email later. I don't know how they gonna find out, but yeah. So, who don't know, All-Star Weekend gonna be here next year, February, and give you a little background, give you a story so you can see the whole picture. I'm a type of person that I like to do everything myself, and I feel like everything I did here, I feel like I have the influence to do whatever I want when it comes to these big type events. I could do my own pop-up shop right next to the Jazz Arena and get a big bang out of it, you know. So I was approached to be a part of All-Star Weekend when it comes to the merchandise and doing dope things when it comes to All-Star Weekend, and to be a part of that is gonna be dope. I can't talk too much into it, but if you follow me or you live in Utah or you don't live in Utah, you should come here in February, All-Star Weekend, man. We got some dope things happening. I'm happy to be a part of it, you know. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I just got we going freestyle means I just got Jon Stan. I got Jo in a lot of trouble. Oh, that's exciting. Everybody, definitely follow on where on Instagram.
Yeah, so yeah, you could, who don't got my Instagram is Jon Stan NYC. But let me just tell you this story, right? Like, the All-Star Weekend, it's gonna be dope. You know, it's to be able to give this opportunity to do it, it's dope. But to know I'm doing something that's working, because I only been in Utah for a year and some change, right? And to do the things I'm doing here at a fast scale, and I've been here a short period of time, and to be able to put it on the forefront. And we were saying this earlier, one thing about Utah is dope. It's dope individuals here, it's dope companies here, it's dope things happening here. But it's like, I call it the Utah curse. Nobody knows. Because they don't care to know, because they got this vision of Utah. They'd be like, hey, I just think, you know, it's jazz there, you got tech companies there, and it's surrounded by mountains. Ain't it snow all the time? I'm like, no, it's some dope things happen here. You know, I can vouch for it. You know, like SneakerCon came here. Shout out to my guy Will. You know, we played a part of bringing SneakerCon here, and it was dope. And it was a great experience for Utah, because they don't get things like that. So to be a part of that, to be able to bring that here and bring people that never cared to come to Utah, but they love my brand, they see what I'm doing, and they come to see it, they like, wow, this is dope. So just to be a part of the All-Star Weekend experience and all these different celebrities and all these people that never cared to come here, that's coming here, that's dope to say, I did that. And the vision is to go, it's dope people here doing the same thing, but they're not on these type of platforms. They're not doing what I'm doing, but they're doing it, but at a bigger scale, or they don't have the support, the backing, but I do. So it's dope to be able to do that. It's open a gateway for people that was born and raised in Utah, have been here for years, that was trying to do it, but I have the leeway, I got the power, I got the gate, I can open them doors to be able to do it. So that's what make it beautiful, you know, and to even do it with All-Star is gonna be even better, you know?
I can't wait. Let's do this, everybody. Let's have Sam and Tommy tell us where can we track what you're doing? Is it on Instagram? Is it Twitter? Somewhere else?
Just IG, the Remade, just IG, and then
Remade.
Yeah, if you like shoes, follow me. That's it.
Sam.
You can check it out on Bald Man Sam on Instagram and Twitter. You'll probably see a bunch of baby pics.
Okay, right on. I'm going to open this up. I don't know if we got someone that can walk the mic around, but we got 6-7 minutes if you guys want to pose some questions to this this awesome panel. Here's JV.
Hey, but I want to say this though. This summit has been probably like, I've been to so many summit, like so many conventions and stuff, like for tech and Web3. But this is like the most humble and then like building relationship I've ever like been to. Like this, Utah has like a different vibe for sure. Yeah. This is like the second time here, you know?
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, let's go, Utah!
Let's go, man. Yo, I can tell you, man, I'm from Brooklyn. Like, I always had this mindset. It was like, if you from New York, you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Nothing better than Brooklyn. It's the Brooklyn way. But coming to Utah, I really adapted Utah. Like, I would go places, they ask where you from? I'm from Utah. Like, you gotta be forgetting I'm from New York at times. But I love it here, you know, and I'm happy to be a part of the future here. You know, and it's a hidden gem. I don't want everybody to know about it. You know, but it's a hidden gem. I love it here.
Hey guys, that's Sam. So I help run a CPG brand, and we're like with Web3 and that whole world. I mean, where do you see guys like us in that world, in the future of that with CPG brands?
Like retail?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, you know, a lot of people think of NFTs and Web3 as, you know, the cartoon characters, people slinging them for tons of money and up and down and lots of volatility. And there's obviously a lot of that's been happening. But as Tommy said, it's the bear market. Like a lot of that fluff went away, a lot of it went down, and a lot of the money grabbers went out of business. So we're in a beautiful time to actually remember why we're here and we care about technology. And Web3 is just an evolution of technology. So for all the entrepreneurs here and this conference, we're not even going to call it Web3 eventually. We're not even going to call it NFTs. It's really going to be just how tech is solving problems. So for CPG brands and beyond, there's a lot of possibilities for loyalty, rewards, incentives, creating more value with early adopters and early supporters of your products. So I think, happy to talk with you more about it. I mean, there's great people on stage here that can dive deep with you on that. But just think about NFTs as a way of building another layer, providing value for people, not just early on because I like your product, but who are the people buying most of your products? Offer a higher value back to them, give them a digital NFT that then can be limited. And then if the brand blows up and is doing well, that NFT becomes more valuable, and that consumer can actually get your product, but also sell that if they want to and make a profit. And there's a lot of possibilities there. And then also just like customer rewards. The more you interact with my brand, the more value you can get through this technology. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
You hit it on the
You
dot.
sum it up pretty well. No, I just don't want to jump into it because it's going to be like an hour talk.
Exactly.
One thing I could say though, when it comes to like the future of Web3, and when it comes, especially how I look for brands, like, for me, and it's coming from me, like I said, I'm not really shabby when it comes to Web3, but one thing that stood out for me was ownership, and how that look. Because for me, like, people that don't know, like, these is my hats I make, right? And the retail $175, and the resale is like $700. So now when it comes to the NFT, the Web3s, I can play a part in that footprint where I can still profit as a brand because now they selling it. And I still get profit as they sell it versus somebody buy my hat, go sell it for $700. I don't get nothing from that. But now I can completely own it through the whole gaps when it's being sold, and I continue to make a profit. So that's something that stood out to me, And the people that don't understand that, like, for example, one of my hats, somebody took a picture of it, and a whole nother brand, not a brand page, like a fashion blog posted it, and it had like 200,000 shares and over like so many likes and comments, and you only seen the front of the hat. You didn't see the back of the hat with my brand. So therefore, how much times they shared it, it's no longer a Jon Stan hat. It's whatever they want to say it is. But now, when it comes to that space, now I can have that ownership all the way leading back to me, and that's what caught my attention as a fashion designer. That I'm interested in now, going forward.
Especially for limited run items like
Exactly.
like the Supreme model.
Yeah.
How do you know if it's a ripoff if you're buying on eBay? Like the authenticity part of that is a very difficult thing to like figure out. And there's a lot of companies, StockX and beyond, that have tried to make moves to figure out a way to authenticate that the item is one of 100. But being tied to a digital twin on the blockchain is like a huge solution to that. So we were just part of helping launch a product with a luminary guy in the Web3 space called G Money. It was called Admit One, and it was a kind of a club where you each got an NFT. There's only 1,000, but the only way to buy the next luxury fashion drop that we did was by being a part of this club of having the NFT, one of the 1,000. And we had an NFC chip that was tied inside of the tag, and that was connected to a digital twin NFT. So the only way to know that you were one of 1,000 of these luxury T-shirts was actually to have the NFT that was on the blockchain to prove that actually it was one of 100, one of 1,000.
Really cool.
Thank you. I have
Do a lightning
next
round
questions. So my question's for John. I think your story is really inspiring, and coming from Starbucks to breaking into the fashion industry, I'm kind of curious how you broke that ceiling and then grew your brand to the popularity it is today, and how you even scaled and got to know vendors and all that. So that's my question. Big question maybe in a short time.
So for me, I got a lot of no's, and I got this saying where I got so many no's that I created my own yes. So for me, it forced me to focus on direct to consumer because I wasn't getting the celebrities. I wasn't getting the big brands to notice me. I wasn't getting the big companies to notice me. So it forced me to create my own yes. So I just focus on direct to consumer. How could I make them want my product? How could I make them want it? How could I create a want? And now I create a need. So I started making my stuff exclusive. And it started from only making 100 hats to, this is still exclusive for me, to only making 4,000 hats. And that's what created the want. And when they started, the celebrities and influencers caught on after. And then it became, all right, how could we get this hat? I only do two drops a year, so I made it exclusive and I created the want for it. And now it just took off. Now everybody try to get on this action. And all these companies like, hey, let's pick John Brain, let's put him a part of this, let's collab with him. You know, and for me, it was just really focusing on creating that direct to consumer, and everything came along after that, you know?
All right, guys. Wow. I can't wait to do this panel again next year and see what's changed. We'll talk to the Summit folks about that and do a redo. Yeah. Sam, Tommy, Jo, thank you so much for everything, for sharing who you are.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh.
If you guys have any
So next year, before we leave, I got the mic. I got the mic. So next year, this hat right here, it was exclusive, but next year, anybody could be able to purchase this hat. And we got some dope stuff. We teamed up with Silicon Slopes, and when you get this hat next year, we got some dope stuff behind it. I keep it just like that. Yeah. So you should get on this next year.
And I think that's only NFT gated next year, isn't it?
Yeah, NFT. So the dope part is now, you're going to get your NFT. It's so much dope stuff. I can't get into detail yet, but
Jon Stan.
listen. Let me know. Let me know. Know who did it first. I made tech fashionable in real life. Remember that.
Yeah.
Love it.
You know, remember that.
Yeah,
One more thing. Shout out to Virgil Abloh.
Big facts.
Hell yeah.
Big facts.
That's the ultimate creator.
But yeah, if you guys have any like Web3 or any NFT space questions, just feel free to come to me. I'll answer anything.
That's an amazing offer. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks, everyone.